Thank you for having. And let me share my screen. Let's get this. All right, can everybody see that? Okay. And is it the right format, Sharonda?
Yes, I do think so. On my screen,
Okay,
it's
good.
showing good. I just
Okay,
want to
good.
out of my full screen
Perfect.
so I can monitor the chat for you. Okay.
Exactly. It's all different. So many things. Well, thanks again for having me. And I'm really excited to be able to share this work with you guys. To me, Farm to ECE is like one of those things that just automatically is a great way to include families. And so it just lends to that so very easily. And so we're just going to talk about some ways to do that today. And I'm sure y'all probably have some thoughts about that as well. So I'd love to hear that as we go along. Today, we're really just going to talk about the importance of family engagement to begin with. Like, why do we even, why is that important in early childhood? And then, and some ways to do that. And I really like this quote is, we know that we're a big part of children's lives, but the biggest part is their families. And so we have to work together. So at the end of the day, the most overwhelming key to a child's success is the positive involvement of parents. And again, I just think Farm to ECE lends to being able to do that so easily. So this is another quote that I thought was really important. It's just understanding that the biggest success to children is not the scores that they're going to get. It's really being successful in life. And we know that one of the key factors in that is also parents and being involved. And so we have to talk to each other, and we have to, build those skills and those relationships early on. And so just making sure that you do that and being really mindful about doing that in your programs, because it's really a partnership for sure. And someday I always say this, that to me, one of the hardest things to do in early childhood is not necessarily the children that we work with, it's all the adults that we work with. So it may be the staff that you deal with or the families that you have. But sometimes those are the hardest situations that you deal with. But working together just allows that to be an easy thing to do when you talk and build those relationships together. So I'm going to start this training because one of the things that I love, and I'm going to share a lot of things that I have seen through the work that I've done and that's worked successfully. And one of the centers that I worked with and that has done this work for a long time, what they do on a regular basis is they have in their foyer, as families come in, they have, if they're going to try something new that week, it may not be every week, but they usually do it on a pretty regular basis. So if they're adding a new fruit or vegetable, or if they're going to have a recipe, or really if they're growing something in their garden, they do like a fact of the week, or they choose an item and they have a fact of the day. So let me and so what it is they build up by the end of the week, and then they actually share whatever it is. So throughout this training, I'm going to share a fact, and so the first person who actually gets whatever this is, if you want to put in the chat box, and the first person who actually knows what this item is, then I actually have something for you. So we'll make sure that we get your address, and we will send a little thank you to you. But so the fact of the day, so this would be the first one of the week, is Monday, is there are 15,000 varieties of this item, and two of the varieties are called Better Boy and Early Girl, and those are two varieties that you can find in North Carolina. So that's just our first fact. So the first way to involve families is just helping with the garden. So if you have a garden, and again, I always say that this work doesn't have to have huge gardens. So even if you just have pots of things, but if so that can be all in itself is a way for families to be engaged. And so it could be a supply drive, again, like, maybe you're just doing some pots, so you just need the pots, the soils, the seeds, or the plants, and then some planting or harvesting days, and then volunteer days. And so what we've seen work in a variety of different ways, because when we first started this work, and I've been in childcare for a long time, so I hear a lot of people say it is really hard to get families engaged, no matter whether it's talking about farm to ECE or not. It is really hard to get them engaged. I can't get them to come out for a whole day. I can't come, or afternoon. That's just not going to work for our center. And some centers that works perfectly. They have a whole day. They come out on a Saturday, and they have these amazing days. But we've also seen one of the ways that I have seen that works really, really well are like you do like at drop off time. So you have the plants ready, you have the seeds ready. And at the end of the day, when they have to come pick their child up, they take one item out, and they, as a family, or just the parent and the child, go out to the bed and actually put that plant in. Could take 5 minutes. It's not a big deal. But it also allows for families to see what's going on. Sometimes they don't actually even know what's going on outside because they never get out there. They're picking their child up from the classroom, and they don't even see the outdoor space that you've been, doing a lot of great work in. And so that works amazing. And that could be the same thing, not just a planting day, but you could also have like a harvest day where you go out, and they go out and they take 5 minutes to get a couple things from the garden. But it's just a small, quick way to get them involved, and it works amazingly well. And the kids get so excited. And then when the kids talk about the garden, then the families really know about it, and they're more likely to go back outside and look like, oh, look, the plant that we put in there together is growing. Daddy and I want you to see it. And so they're going to go out before they leave on another day. So that has really worked amazingly. And then, of course, like those volunteer days, I have, yes, those for some centers work wonderfully too. And it could be that they're actually going out to do some weeding, or that they're actually planting in the garden, or it could be that it is that is a new project for your center, and you're actually building the garden beds. And so you're learning, these volunteer days, you're also starting to learn, like, maybe extended family that enjoy this piece of the work. Like we've seen in a lot of programs, grandparents really get into this, and they love to come out and be part of the gardening pieces of it. And so you learn like other people that in the family that might want to be part of this project as well. And so these days could be, really specific projects that you're like, we're putting in a new bed, or it's the end of the, like, we're really like tilling up the ground. We're going to do a whole nother crop. That takes a little bit more work than just weeding. And so, you're getting rid of it. You're tilling it all up, and you're having to redo things, and it takes a little bit longer. So that's more of a day-long process too. And so, the kids are a part of that. The families are a part of it, and a lot of programs make it like they're kind of their fall day too. So they actually, will do picnics and all these other things that entice families to come as well. And I do know that some programs, and I know like Head Starts and some other programs have like hours that families have to do in their program. And this is a great one to do that as well, is working in the gardens, and they get their volunteer hours that they need as well. Okay, so fact 2. So we're on Tuesday of the week. So if you know this, pop it into the chat, and we'll see who gets it first. So China is the largest producer of this produce item, which could be a lot of things, but this particular item, based on all the other facts, see if you can figure out what it is. And let me hop back real quick. I always like to end. Are there other ways that folks have seen that work for involving families in their gardens? I'd love to hear if anybody else has done other things other than like the drop off and the volunteer days. Has anybody done some other things that have worked well for them? And I talked about it briefly, but it's the supply, like, and that could be like an ongoing thing. Like you have a chart or a list up in your foyer, or that you send home on a regular basis, that for things that, and that's a way for families to not have to commit a lot of time, but be involved in that process as well. So taste tests. Now, who doesn't like to try things? And so this is a great way for families to know like what's being served in the program, and also maybe taste some new things that they've never tried before themselves. So a lot of us do these taste tests with our kids, but these are a great way to also include families. So this was one that you could tell we've got it outside. And it is during pickup time. And so we had a couple of things going on. This was actually carrots. And just so you know too, and I know that we're all across the state, but we have been lucky here in Wake County to actually really get connected with our food bank. So it's the Eastern North Carolina Food Bank. And I know they cover a lot of the state, but there's a lot of smaller ones across the state as well. And they do donations for our programs as well. So we do them on a regular basis, and we drop off things, and we try to have some taste tests when they do that. And they also, just FYI, the food bank also does like some educational programs. So they have materials that you can use as well. And so if you are involved with your food bank, or you're not, I would reach out and find out some more information about that. Not only do they give us the items to be able to actually use for the taste test, and families actually get to take home a bag as well. Like, so for this one, this was actually carrots. And so we did 2 items. We did just carrots with, it was a carrot hummus that we did. And then also a carrot smoothie. And so families got to taste both of them, and then take home a book and a bag of carrots to do things at home with some recipes and all that kind of stuff too. So it's just a quick, easy when they're leaving at the end of the day. And again, a lot of families, like the one, I'm telling you, that do the fact of the week, they try to share what they are actually using on their menu as well. Like the center actually was going to add the smoothies to their menu. So when the kids come home and say like, oh, Mom, we just had a carrot smoothie this week, they know what it is, and they have the recipe, and they can try it at home as well after. Because we have learned, and I don't know if you see it in your program, but we have learned that, and it was kind of a surprising thing, kids have become the educators to the adults about trying new things, especially if they're in a program that is trying new things on a regular basis. They're going home and saying, or they see it in the grocery store when you're together, they say, oh my goodness, we just tried eggplant this week. I love to try that. Whereas before, a family might not have tried it because they didn't think that anybody would eat it. And so the kids are going to be being the ones who saying, oh, we loved it, and we like to try it at home as well, which is a cool benefit to all of this. And then, so making it fun again. So like that was some recipes. Like this was actually a prepared pasta that that was being put on the menu, and so everybody got to taste a cup of that as they walked out. And so make it fun. When we do taste tests with kids, we like to say loved it, liked it, or try it next time. I try really hard to not say like I didn't like it. And many of you guys might have heard the term like don't yuck my yum. And so we don't want to, like, what I like doesn't necessarily mean like what you like. And so we don't want to discourage somebody else from not liking something. So, and again, it may just be I didn't like the carrots in that format, or that recipe. Like I always say, like I really like crunchy vegetables. And so like I don't like steamed, I don't like them mushy. And so like I don't like steamed carrots, but doesn't mean I don't like carrots. I like them raw. And so sometimes you got to try them in a wide variety of ways. And so this is just a fun way, this is things that you're going to do with your kids. So have the same posters up for your parents and your families as you're leaving to say the same thing. And you just use stickers. And then if you're not familiar, there's a group out of the western part of the state, which many of you guys may have some of their materials on ASAP, which is the Appalachian Sustainability Agriculture Project. Again, so they're out of the western part of the state and they do the farms, the ECE toolkit that many of you guys have probably seen or might have yourself. And they have materials. So they have like these stickers that say like, we tried a local whatever today, like these are potatoes and blueberries and squash. And so, who doesn't like a sticker after they try something, and sharing the recipes as well as they try these things. And again, it's not this long like process. It is just when they're picking up their child, they're trying it, and they're a part of the process that day and learning a little bit more about what's going on in the center. Has anybody tried anything around taste testings or seen things that have worked in their programs as well? I know y'all have done some good stuff.
At one of our centers, our extension agent came out, and we've done it at a couple of centers. They did the smoothie, the shamrock smoothie that
Oh
I think Sharonda has the video on the website.
Yes.
And that's been kind of popular with our kids. But letting them taste the spinach before it went in the smoothie has been even more successful. They love it. They love it.
I love it. And Cindy, I'm glad you said that. Because I'm a big advocate. Some people are like, let's sneak it in there. I'm not a big advocate of that. I want the kids to know where it came from, because so if they see spinach again, they're gonna like it because they liked it in the smoothie. So I'm glad you brought that point up. Thank you. And smoothies are a great way. Because there are abundance of varieties of smoothies. I would have never thought the carrot smoothie would have been one that worked, and it did. People loved it. Even we did it in our office, and even some of our very picky staff members liked it. So thank you for bringing up that point. Anybody else have anything that's worked?
I roasted tomatoes in the oven with some of my school leaders. We put Italian seasoning on top, and
oh, yummy.
Yep, and they really loved it, and some cheese. And I was really surprised because they have asked me several times, let's do it again. So that was a taste test that we did recently with our school agers.
Oh, I love it. And again, like you said, Barbara, aren't you surprised? They're the ones who are initiating it, and doing some education, and want to try some things. So, for sure. That's exciting, and trying it different ways. That sounds really yummy.
It smelled like pizza.
I bet it did. With those ripe tomatoes that are coming out right now, but those are really good. Any other ideas that have worked for you guys, or recipes that have worked well for a taste test?
When we first joined Farm to ECE, they sent out these boxes, and we put together the salad, so these students did the lettuce, the students cut up the couple of the vegetables, and they did then another group did the dressing, and then they put it all together and tried it.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah. And I'm going to actually show salad bars are a good way to actually involve your families too. Especially if you're growing, I have a couple centers that grow a decent amount themselves, and lettuce, you get a good amount from a small area. And they do salad bars, even for their families to take at the end of the day. So that's something I want to talk about in a little bit too. Yeah, different dressings. And it's so funny, like we have a chef that we work with, and sometimes we're all like, we want it to be healthy. So we're like, maybe the dips are not the best thing. And he has always like told us like, whatever it takes for them to try it. Like, so if they want like a bucket of ranch, like that, let them have it to begin with. Cause like you said, Cindy, like they're going to taste it and then they're going to know it for later on. And so like dips are a great way too, like, there's a wide variety of those too. So the dressings and the dips are a great, easy way for kids to be involved, and get them to try some new things too. Because we know that what kid doesn't like ranch. All right, so my third fact is the Aztec name for this item, this produce item, translates to plump thing with a navel. So these would be this, like they're facts, and I only have one photo because this one, if I use photos, you would get it. So the last one is the photo. But they would actually also they do like really close in photos of certain things. Like, so it's not just a fact every day. It could be a picture of the actual the plant that you wouldn't know by looking at it. So they're really creative with their facts. Sorry. Whew. I've been struggling with a cold. Hold on one second.
Well, you take your time.
I'm sorry.
No, you are fine. Just take your time.
Woo. Whew. Okay, there we go. And so the next thing that's really kind of fun is also cooking. And so, Cindy brought up some of those things too. Goodness. Not just what y'all want to hear is me coughing. So including your families, there's a couple ways that you can do it. So, if you're having, like I heard Barbara say, like you actually have cooking activities. And so actually having the families come and volunteer to help during those, because you do need those extra hands sometimes if you're, especially if you're using knives or if you're cutting up things, sometimes you need a couple of extra hands in the classroom doing those kind of things. But then there's also classes that you could do with your actual kids, with the actual families and doing them together. So here are just a couple examples. We have actually done, which has actually worked really well. I talked about the chef that we use at our agency. And I know Cindy also talked about like cooperative extension. And I know in some areas they do a lot of cooking classes, and they do some with families as well. So connecting there, you don't have to have your own chef to do this. But we have actually done some online courses. And you would think like, oh, doing them with kids and families in their own kitchen. At first we're like, okay, is this really going to work? We started it during COVID. Actually, it almost works better. They're in their own kitchen. I know you see only the child right here, but when we're watching them, their families are with them, and they're doing it together, and it has been an amazing experience. It is really fun. So we do really simple stuff. I don't know if you can tell, but this is actually a plastic knife. So don't think this child has he doesn't have like a chef's knife. It is a plastic chef's knife that he's using. And so what we do is we actually send out the recipes ahead of time so the families know. And then we do them together with our chef. And he walks the families through it. So it's really a fun experience. And we've had a lot of positive feedback on this. Again, it's and it's kind of worked really nicely being in their own kitchen. Again, I wasn't 100% sure about, having it virtual, but it worked well. And then we have some that we've actually done like, actual classes. And it's families together that are doing things. I even had one center that they did. They actually had this small grant that they got from some local organization. And they did family canning. So they actually like had somebody come out and they did it as families, not just the parents, and talked about, it was really short because it was with the kids too, but talked about the importance, and they actually gave some history on like why that, why that kind of got started and all that kind of stuff. And then they canned some things together. I think they did tomatoes, and it might have been pickles too, so it's a fun activity. And they did together. And so, it could be a wide variety of ways that you're doing these cooking classes, but just and using things that you may have, like I know these, it looks like they've been bought on the right hand corner, but herbs are a great thing. Those are easy. So if you're not growing anything else, herbs are extremely easy to do in a pot, and you get a ton of them. With one small plant, and using those in the dishes that you're using. So has anybody done like family cooking classes? Like I know people are probably doing some cooking activities in their center, but has anybody done anything that's actually included the families when it comes to actual cooking activities? Or been a part of, I love to hear, again, I know it's different from county to county, but like cooperative extension, they do have some courses. And if those would be something that, and they do some family things. So that's always a great one to be a part of if your county does those.
Yes, our county here in Lee County, they do a lot of activities with our kids. They come out and do some taste tests, and they do activities with the food. And like I said, we also do other things. As we made some fruit tacos lately. We just spreaded some
Yummy.
like dip over the tortilla shells, and they got to add which berry they wanted to put on it, and we cut them into like they were tacos, and the kids enjoyed those.
Oh, that sounds fun. And those are good ones. I always say like those because there's a fruit salsa that I like to share a lot too. And Barbara, that sounds a lot like this kind of concept. And especially when you're cooking with kids, and COVID's made us even more aware of sanitation issues. But people have always been a little afraid to do some cooking things because of sanitation requirements. And so if you do things individually, you don't have to worry about that. So like with the sauces or the well, actually just about any recipe, I think you can actually, as long as you can give each individual child a small portion of what it is, like if it's just a mixing, like salsa is, you give them a little, like if it's the fruit salsa, you give them a little piece of apple, a little piece of strawberry, little piece of a couple other fruits, and you just dice it together and you're mixing it up. It's not this exact science of how much you have to put in there. And those are great recipes because then you don't have to worry about it. It's their own individual thing. And then you don't have to worry about sanitation because it's only them eating their own item. And so like those kind of things like that you're talking about, Barbara, that would be great because you can give each child a little piece of, of their taco. And that one sounds kind of fun, anything that's fun. And it sounds like something else that they might like a taco or a pizza. Like the tomatoes that you talked about, they smelled like pizza, so they're more likely to try it because it smells similar and probably tastes similar to something they've already had.
Right, we've learned if you add little cheese or a little dip, goes a long way with them trying like green peppers, or they even ate some raw green, but tomatoes lately and stuff. But you know, they'll try anything if they can dip it in dip.
Exactly, Barbara. And it's funny, like you said, well, and they probably tried the raw tomatoes because you tried it the other way first. And they're like, oh, I did like it that way, so I'm probably gonna like it this way. And that's exactly what, you know, the taste tests are all about. Is like, you know, you gradually get to the point where they're just eating it without the dip, they're eating it without the cheese. But and it's okay if it does have a little bit, like because they're getting all the other, you know, nutritional values as well. Because eventually we hope, especially if they start early enough in life, they're going to get to a point where they like it without all the other stuff on it. Okay, so our fourth fact of the day is this produce items comes in a wide variety of colors: orange, yellow, pink, red, purple, black, and white. I wonder if anybody gotten a guess for this yet? I can't see the comments. I know.
I haven't guessed.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Someone said pumpkin. Someone has said grapes.
Nope. No, neither one of those yet. Good guesses though. So we're okay. Awesome.
Tomato, corn, carrot.
Oh, somebody's got it.
So between those three, somebody got it?
Yes. All right. I'm going to go wait till the last one. So the last one does have the photo of it. So, but yes, somebody does have it. All right. So the next great way, I mean, what's, you know, better than, again, when we talk about farm to ECE, we have so many like benefits that, you know, again, like just being involved with pieces of it. But to me, this is one of the biggest benefits. It's just the sharing of the food, that especially if you're growing an item, or even if you're purchasing it and you're, you know, working with a local farmer or those is, and it's come to light during COVID. Food security. Before we had a harder time talking about it. People are a little bit more open about that. And some people are not. So it's not always an issue that people like to talk about. But to me, when you have it available for everyone, then anybody can take advantage of it. And you don't have to be aware. If I'm taking home a bag of something, even if you have an employee, if they are taking something home, you don't necessarily know. You're just making it available to everyone. And so to me, this is just such a benefit of this work, is being able to share that. And then in addition to the food security piece of it, it's also just providing opportunities for people to try things that they wouldn't have normally tried. I mean, we've had so many cooking classes with childcare staff, and we would pull out like eggplants or even some squash, and people are like, I've never had that in my life. And talking about trying things like and doing it in a way, one of the things I do a lot of is eggplant pizzas. Again, it's like a pizza. And so people are like, oh my God, I never knew I would like this. And so you know, they are exposed to some things that they might not normally be exposed to, especially if you have these connections. And so, like I talked about earlier, and so down at the bottom is an example of is a salad bar. This is actually one that they do for their kids, but they also do a salad bar that like on a Friday afternoon, they have to-go boxes and families can go through and do a salad that they take home. It doesn't have to be just salad. That could be one piece of it. I've had a variety of other food things that, but if you really want to share what you have in your garden, or again, like maybe you're working with a local farmer, so you're not even growing it yourself, or you're buying it. So I don't necessarily, you have to have a local farmer that you're working with, but you're buying some, you know, and maybe even you have a little extra. And so it's just a great way to involve your families. And then they just take home a well-balanced meal that they don't go through McDonald's drive-through on the way home, and they don't have to think about it. And then letting them go through the garden. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have grown squash, but you always have a way abundance of that. Maybe cucumbers, tomatoes. Like to me, when I first started doing this work, it was amazing, like what one tiny plant could produce. It's just, I mean, everybody's like, I don't have the space to do gardens. Well, you don't really have to have a big space to produce a lot of food. And so even if a program or you're using it and you're using it in your menus, you usually have a lot of it. Because one, you get to a point where like, we can't serve squash again in the next month because we've had it so many days. We can't think of any more recipes to use it with. So you want to share them. So these, they can go harvest it themselves on their way out. And another great way is just to have it available, like have a little stand of some items where they can just take and this is kind of called their like little community garden, that community stand that they have that they just put in their lobby and people take. And actually what's kind of fun is this center also, in addition to having and sharing what they have in their own garden, like families could actually bring stuff that they had an abundance of. If they were growing things at home, in the same situation, you think like, oh, I need 10 cucumber plants from my one family, and then you're producing 1,000 cucumbers. So they could actually, it's more of like a produce swap. So they could, they actually brought some of the items that they had and shared it that way as well. And then one of my favorite things to do is the kids actually having their own markets. That there's have a real food, and you can do it as a fundraiser. You could actually sell some of your produce items, or it could just be set up and people are taking it, and the kids are running the business. But I mean, it could be a wide variety of things that they're doing, and it just it's a fun way to be able to share your products with the families or even the community. I mean, sometimes I've had some that open it up to like and share it with. That they're doing this, and they open it up to the community around them to let them know that it's going on. And then this one is kind of, so in addition to like, maybe growing your own things, is actually making a connection. And one of the things to me, when we talk about Farm to ECE is, we want it to work for all sides. We and most of us on this call are on the early childhood side of things. And so, yes, we want to be able to serve fresh local things. But if we're working with farmers and we want it to be an income that really works for them, that we don't necessarily want it to be like, oh, can you just give us the food? Like we want it to be viable business strategy for them as well. And so this farmer that we worked with for years, what he has shown to us about how this really works is he was selling to our actual childcare program. And then he actually did like boxes for the childcare program. So it was like boxes that the families, like a CSA box that a family could pick up when they actually picked up their child. So it was just an easy, they purchased it from him. And then his third way of actually making money at one location was actually doing like a market once a month there. And so, like I talked about before, he actually opened it up to bigger than just the childcare program. The childcare program actually like kind of let the neighborhood know and the community around them that he was going to be doing this. Like this is actually a center that's not too far from our office. So a lot of our office staff would go out there and actually go purchase when he was there. And so he opened it, and again, he made 3 sources of income with like one drop off. So again, it makes it more viable for him to be able to do this. And what we noticed too, in addition to him, is like, so when families, because most of the farmers that are working like with this kind of work are usually smaller farmers. And so they are going to be selling to like at farmers markets. And so if families knew that their childcare program was purchasing from a particular farm, if they saw that name, maybe because they sold there, or maybe it was also on their menu that, the carrots this week were from Jones Farm. When they went out to their local farmers market, they're like, oh my goodness, here's Jones Farm. We're going to purchase from him because he supports our child care program. So it's a great relationship building, and it also supports our local farmers as well. And who's not going to support somebody that's supporting their own program? So it's just been a great, way to support and a wide variety of things. But again, it is just sharing the food that's already available, maybe from their own garden or from the farmer that is working with them in some way. Has anybody had any luck with other ways that families are, or that you're sharing your abundance of produce with your families?
We had one that said their parents bring the items that they don't want to leave on the picnic tables in case other families want, they can take.
I love it. Exactly. Again, because there's only so many ways that you can serve something, right? If you have 200 of them at your house. So that's a great way to do it.
We've been sharing some of our tomatoes and purple peppers with our parents because we've had so many that we can't use them all.
Exactly. Again, it's just well, you know what? And another thing that I have seen lately, and this kind of goes back a little bit to the food security. And this might not work quite as well for fresh items, but I don't know if any of y'all have seen the mini libraries that have been coming up. There's food pantry ones as well, and so a lot of people put the staples in it, but you can actually put maybe some produce items that that last longer. I don't know if I would put tomatoes in there, unless you're gonna just put them there for the day, but corn could sit out there for a couple of days. And I heard some people have them maybe in the further part of their parking lot. So again, it's not the stigma. And they were actually talking about it, not just for their families, but for their staff, that when the staff went, they could pick it up, and the stigma of doing it is not there because maybe somebody else doesn't see them take it from the box, but having those items available that way too. And another cool thing that I have seen is actually having small, I guess you would call it you pick gardens, even if it's just a tiny little area on the corner of or in the front, it doesn't matter where it is, of your program. For example, I have one that's downtown Raleigh, and it's in a population that has a lot of homeless. And so they have a garden out front that has a sign that says, pick what you need. Don't pick more than you need for the day. You're welcome anytime. And so they just grow a couple extra plants out in the front, and it's available to anybody, to families, to community members, whoever. But it's a great way to serve your population and your community, supporting your community that way too.
We have someone, Lynn, that said, Donna said, my families get to pick pears off my tree. The kids have watched them grow all year and are excited that they are ready to pick.
Oh, that's exciting. I love it. That's better than them falling and rotting on the ground. So I'm glad that that's what happens with a lot of the fruit trees sometimes. So, oh, that's so exciting. And I know that they would. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, we have another one that's set from Rochelle that says, so what I have planned is to do an open stand for parents that garden and want to bring some to swap with what we grow in other families.
Perfect. I love it. Great ways. And again, it's again, it goes back to not wasting anything too. So it's a great way to, we talk about, food waste and all that too. So we don't want that to happen. So this is a great way to do it and get a variety of items to be able to share. Fabulous ideas. Any other ones? All right. So I said, I heard somebody say it. So it was tomatoes. So what was new to me was the different colors. Like I knew of a couple of them, but the black and the pink and I like had no clue about that. So this is just a fun way to like just get your families excited about like something new. And at this center, I can't begin to, I mean, they would get so excited and it would be like guessing every day. Like they love it. And then they're usually on this final day, they usually have something available. So they'll have like tomatoes this day that either they can take home or they taste them. This center actually grows a lot of food. And so they would offer it up at the end of the week as well. So Sharonda, whoever that was, if you will get their address, I will send something to them. Because I did hear somebody say tomatoes.
Yes, and we also had one right before you started with the fact when you put up the picture of the tomatoes, Donna also said we have planted peach pits and apple seeds to see if we can start a fruit tree area. It'll take a few years, but they hope to still be there.
Oh, that is so awesome. I love it. Oh, you could even, I could just see that like just growing into like an orchard and like having a whole like I don't know. Just the whole family piece of it, because you're right, it's going to take a couple years, but you can see families coming back and being excited to see it. Oh, that's
If you
really
have your
fun.
garden too, that could be like a hope area that could tie into social emotional, where you can go and make your wishes. And I can see that turned into a social emotional piece.
I love it.
Um,
Because yes, all this work definitely
Oh.
falls right into that. Oh, thank you for sharing that. I love that. And it goes back to like the whole like lessons learned too. Like you may never actually get a peach that grows, but you might have the tree. Like I've grown these pineapples forever. And I love watching them, but I haven't produced a pineapple yet. But they look pretty in the middle of it. They're pretty plants. Maybe one of these days I'll actually get a pineapple. So it's lessons as well. So I love it. Thank you for sharing.
Robin says she plants her avocado pits.
Oh, I do that too. I love it.
She has
Now,
two
have you
flowers.
produced any?
She has 2 flowers.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I've been trying. I love it. Yes. Well, and if y'all have ever been on anything I do, I joke that I can't do a big garden. Like I would love one, but I don't know. I think it's just me. One, I have deers and everything that eats it. And so I don't have the patience for all of it, but I'm a windowsill gardener is what I call myself. So I have all kinds, I love to regrow stuff. Like that's my way of gardening. So I have the avocados, I have the pineapples, I got everything like in my windowsills, like growing. I regrow the green onions, all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad to hear, because my avocado tree looks really good, but I haven't produced anything yet. So yay. Okay, there's hope.
Porch planters are good too. I have peppers growing in one.
See, okay, I should try that. Okay. I love it. I always get ideas when I do these trainings. Yeah, that's about like the extent to what I can do. So I appreciate the ideas.
And a lot of people have started using the grow bags too, like on their porches and stuff too. And they said that really works wonders for people too.
Yeah, and then I love those too, because like you can like move things around. You see that's not a good area. I love the grow. Yeah, those are great. Yeah, that's a great point. And then okay, so I have one last like idea about how to involve your families with all this work. It's field trips. I mean, you always, if you're going to do field trips, you need families to be involved in this. And these are actually like even like actual family events. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just a field trip. Like these are to some farms. Like there's actually a couple of centers that I have. They don't even make them field trips anymore, because it's like they they don't do a whole lot of field trips because of transportation is what this center does. But they do like evenings, like family events, and they do at farms. So they, they do like the pumpkins and all that, but they also do like different farmers around the area. So so these are just some pictures of different opportunities to do that. So you could have a field trip where you have families engaged, but also, actually plan a family night to go out and be together and enjoy the farm. And there are some lists out there. Sharonda, you might know. I mean, I feel like I'm going a little blank. But isn't there a list somewhere of like I'm like on a state site that actually says like farms that actually do like agriculture field trips, or I'm going blank on the term, like agribusiness.
Yes, I'm thinking so. I'm thinking Caroline may be more of that person that helps us on that end, that she always knows the names to everything.
I know. I sometimes
But
I have
yes,
just enough
there
knowledge to
should
be
be a
dangerous.
site in which that would have the different things like you're showing, the pumpkin patches, and you can pick your own blueberries and all of that stuff like that. Those different types of farms should be listed on the North Carolina, probably. Gosh, I used to have a little.
I know. Well, I know that if you Google North Carolina U-Pick, I know that they have a list of all the like, if you want to go do strawberries or if you want to go do blueberries, like they list out across the state like which farms do that. But I feel like there's also a list that also does like other kind of field trips too. But maybe we'll get that. Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't there a site called I want to say Day Out with the Kids, that they list the different areas for the farm?
Oh, that's okay. Day Out with the Kids.
I mean, I think it was Day Out. So DOWTK, I think is the name of that site. I think I've been on there before, but I will check the North Carolina one because I don't know why I didn't think. But I think I've been on that site before, to list the different areas that actually have farms that will have kids that were good for kids to visit.
That's great to know. Thank you for sharing that.
And Kat, thank you. Kat just put it in there. It's the NC Farms app. Yes, it's that app, because I can see the little sticker. But it's a Visit NC Farms app. And
awesome.
Yes, and then Katie said we hosted a U-Pick Strawberry Day for our families this spring, and it was a big success. We hope to do it again this fall at the pumpkin patch.
I love it. I love it. Well, then again, it's it's multiple ways. You don't have to worry too much about when you do field trips, you only have a couple families. In this way, I'm sorry. Of course, I tell my family not to call me, and they still call me. The joys. So yes, I mean, it's just another great way to involve your families and being able to offer, these opportunities and let them be engaged in it as well.
Our training Saturday was at the Ag Center, and the Master Gardeners invited us to come, said they would do field trips at the learning garden there. Their learning garden. They have a lot of things they do there at the Ag Center. So,
and it's beautiful back there in Union County too. It's very nice.
That's a great, and there's so many. I mean, like even our food bank here in Raleigh actually has like a garden that families can come and do stuff, and it's like a educational kind of garden. So yeah, thank you for sharing about that, because I know, and it's very different from county to county. I mean, that's why sometimes it's hard to know exactly what's going on, but getting in touch with your local cooperative extension is great. So anybody else, y'all had some great ideas, and I'd love to hear if anybody has any other ideas, but I really appreciate being with you guys. And if you have any questions, again, I'm Lynn Policastro, and I don't know if I shared, but I'm actually with Wake County Smart Start. So I'm always happy to help. Again, this work brings me passion. So and I'm always happy to be part of it. So thank you.
And we thank you, Lynn, as always, for feeding our souls like you do and sparking this conversation that everybody is having. Are there any other questions or comments, that, because this is the time so you guys can share again what you've been doing and giving us some more ideas? Please feel free to unmute yourselves or drop something in the chat to us.
I just wanted to say that I enjoyed some of the ideas that I've learned today, especially like maybe putting up a little pretend fruits and vegetable stand with the kids. Like we had made a lemonade stand. I think when you came down for a visit one time, Sharonda, and you saw it where they had made like instead of a lemonade, it was an orange stand where they served some little drinks that they had made out of orangeade, but
Right.
out of cardboard. But just make something like that for the parents to come in and maybe get some of our vegetables from the garden or something.
I love it, and they will love it, and the kids will love it. I promise you. They love it. There's some good salespeople for sure.
Yeah, they enjoyed that day. We sold to each other, but we used the play money in our play cash register, and they took turns doing the cash register or serving the drink, but they had fun that day.
Oh, I love it.
I have thanks for the ideas and thanks so much. This is great. Another thank you. So if you guys don't have anything else, we're 2 minutes from the bottom of the hour, and we will end things next week with me doing social emotional health. So you get to end with me this year. And I hope that you guys will enjoy everything. Again, we have our Institute in October. So we have sent out information to the listserv. If you have not received that information, please shoot us emails so we can make sure you get registered for the event. We are hoping for 100 and we already have 30 people registered. So it's a free event. You get 4 training hours that day. It's on Saturday. We're going to feed you. If you're coming from a long distance, to let us know so we can make sure that accommodations are done for you also. Okay. So please, please don't forget. And we're going to be going a lot deeper. Things like therapeutic gardening, more parent engagements. Also, we will have former U.S. Congresswoman Eva Clayton speaking. And we will also have Michelle, who was doing our cooking activities, and she will be there again to do in-person live, doing the activity from book with your children all the way to taste test / snacks with your children. So you'll be able to be that child that day and actually do the whole thing. And we'll also have implicit biases as well, talking about that also with our social emotional health and how that helps our children. So going deeper, please sign up. You guys have a great rest of your day. And again, thank you for tuning in. And I will see you same place, same bat station, same bat time next week. For those of you who know that one.